Hello, welcome to this video class. Today we talk about conditional sentences. You know, some people think that conditionals are difficult, but that is not true. You pay attention to little details and then you're done. It will be a piece of cake. Let us start with a definition. Conditional sentences describe situations that occur or may not occur because of certain conditions. You want me to lend you some money. You need money. Okay, I will lend you the money if. Okay, after the if you have the condition. I will lend you the money on one condition. I will lend you the money if you promise to pay me by Monday. Okay, so the result depends on one condition. That is the point when we talk about conditional sentences. Now let us see what they consist of. They consist of two clauses. A dependent condition clause, also called if clause, and an independent result clause. You have a result, you have a condition. You meet the condition, you have the result. You do not meet the condition, you do not have the result. Okay? Let us look at the example here. Water boils if, what is the condition? If it reaches 100 degrees Celsius. Okay? Water boils if. What is this if? Here you have the beginning of the dependent condition clause or the if clause. Now, let us continue. Well, there are two types of conditional sentences, real and unreal. Real conditionals or factual conditionals are sentences that describe situations that occur regularly or situations that are likely or possible in the future. Let us look at one example of something that occurs regularly. Look at this. Water boils if, what is the condition? If it reaches 100 degrees Celsius. Okay? And here, let us have an example of something that is possible in the future. I say, we will pass. Condition? If we study. If we study, we will pass. If we do not study, we will not pass. It is that simple. Okay? Remember that there are two types of conditional sentences, real and unreal. And real or factual conditionals are sentences that describe situations that occur regularly or that are likely or possible in the future. Now, let us talk about unreal conditionals. What are they? They are sentences that describe situations that are not true. They are untrue. Situations that are not likely to occur. They are unlikely. Or they are impossible in the present or the past. Look at the example here. If I were rich. Am I rich? No, definitely no. Okay. But if I were rich, I would buy a new car. But I am not rich, so I can only buy second-hand cars or used cars. Okay? Now, this sentence describes something that is not true. Okay? I am not rich. I wish. If I were rich, if I could go to Machu Picchu, if I could go to Europe, if I could travel to Europe, okay? That is not true. Those things are not true. Those are unreal conditionals. Okay? And look at the other one. I would have helped you. I would have helped you. I would have helped if you had asked, but you didn't, so I didn't help you. Okay, so we are talking about something that didn't occur in the past, okay? I would have helped if you had asked. You didn't, so I didn't help you. Now, let us continue. Remember, in conditional sentences, the clauses can come in either order, at the beginning or at the end. Look at this. If I don't finish my work early, I won't be able to go with you. It is at the beginning. Or I may say, I won't be able to go with you if I don't finish my work early. So, when we deal with conditional sentences, the conditional can be at the beginning or at the end. Now, what is the use of conditional sentences? Let us begin with this. We use present real conditional sentences. Remember, we are talking about present real. So, in other words, they occur or they may occur in the future. We use present real conditional sentences to talk about general truths, scientific facts, or habits and repeated events. We use the simple present in both clauses. We can also use the present progressive in the if clause. Now, let us analyze this grammatically. Look at this. Plants die. Tense, present. Plants die if they don't get enough water. Tense, present again. Okay? So look at this. We use the simple present in both clauses. When we are talking about general truths, scientific facts, or habits or repeated events, we have present and present. Plants die if they don't get enough water. Now let us say something about this disease. Number 2, people with diabetes can control their disease if they take insulin regularly. What tense? Present. People with diabetes can control their disease if, here you have the if clause, if they take insulin regularly. Okay? Remember, present, real, conditional. We have a combination of present and present. Present and present in both clauses. And we use it to talk about general truths, scientific facts, habits, or repeated events. Okay? Let us see one last example. Remember that you can use the present progressive. Here, you have that here. Now let us look at one example. If I am flying, I always feel nervous. I had told you before we have a combination of present and present, but when we are dealing with present real conditional sentences, we can also use progressive, present progressive, and present. Okay? Simple present. Now, what about unreal conditionals? Okay, look at this. We use the present unreal conditional to talk about unreal, untrue, imagined, or impossible conditions and their results. We use the simple past form of the verb in the if clause. Okay? We are talking about present and real. Okay? Present and real conditional. We use the simple past form of the verb in the if clause. If the verb is be, use were for all persons. For example, if I were, if you were, if she were, if he were, and so on. We use were for all persons. But this is a proper grammar. Some people say if she was, okay? But for some people that is grammatically incorrect, so it is better to use were with all persons. Now, use could, might, or would plus the base form of the verb in the result clause. Okay, on one side, you have the past form. On the other side, you use could, might, or would plus the base form. Let us look at some examples. If I love you, is it real? No, it is unreal. I do not love you. Okay? If I love you, I would ask you to marry me. I'd ask you to marry me. So what do we have here? We have the simple past. Okay? Look at this. Use the simple past form of the verb in the if clause. Here we have the if clause and we use the simple past. If I loved you, and let us see the result clause, I would ask. Remember, we can use could, might, or would plus the base form. I would ask you. I could ask you. I might ask you. This is the simple form, and here you have could, might, or would. Okay? Now, let us look at another example. I might watch videos if I had the day off. If clause, simple past. Result clause, could, might, or would, and the simple form. She might watch. He might watch. Okay? Watch is always in the simple form. And something that I want you to remember. If you start with the if clause, or what do you have between the two clauses? You have a comma. But if the if clause is at the end, there is no comma. That is something that you already know, but I wanted you to remember that. And let us see one last example. If I were you, remember that that is unreal. I am not you. I cannot be you. That is impossible. Okay? That is untrue, unreal. But if I were you, I wouldn't accept the offer. Okay? We're talking about the second conditional. We're talking about the present and real conditional. What do we have on one side in the if clause? You have the simple past tense, where for all persons, remember, she were, if I were, if you were, if she were, if he were, if they were, all the time were. And on the other side, you have a could, might, or would, and the simple form of the verb. We use the past and real conditional to talk about past, unreal, untrue, imagined, or impossible conditions and their unreal results. Use the past perfect form of the verb in the if clause and use could, might, or would plus have plus past participle in the result clause. Let us look at one example. Here, the if clause is at the beginning. If I had listened to my inner voice. If clause at the beginning, comma in between. Let us look at the verb form, past perfect. If I had listened to my inner voice. And now let us look at the result clause, would plus have plus past participle. Instead of would, I may use could or might, okay? I could have made, I might have made, I would have made. In this case, it is negative. I wouldn't have made that mistake. If I had listened to my inner voice, I wouldn't have made that mistake. We are talking about past, unreal, untrue, imagined, or impossible conditions. Okay? Let us look at the other example. Mary would have accepted your proposal if you had asked in time. We begin here with the result clause, we have would plus have plus past participle. You see, it is important to know the past participle forms of irregular verbs, okay, because you use them here with conditionals. Okay, now let us look at the if clause. You see, there is no comma. When the if clause is at the end, there is no comma. Now, let us look at the verb. Had asked. What is it? It is past perfect. Okay? So when we are talking about the third conditional, the past and real conditional, we always have past perfect in the if clause, and we have would plus have plus past participle. Okay, I say always, but that is a general term. There, of course, there are some exceptions, and we will see them at the end of this presentation. Now, let us continue. When do we use the past and real conditional? Well, we often use the past and real conditional to express regret. In other words, you sort of repent, you feel bad about a situation that happened in the past, that really happened in the past. Now you feel bad, but that is something that really happened in the past. Look at this. You asked me for money, and I said no. I feel bad about that, and look at the way I express it. I would have lent you the money if I had known you were in financial difficulty. Okay, so what are you doing? You are expressing regret about a situation that happened in the past. I would have lent you the money if I had known you were in financial difficulty. Would plus have plus past participle, and in the if clause you have the past perfect. Okay? Now, let us review what we have seen up to now. Let us see our grammar presentation. Here we have some charts. Present and future real conditional. Okay? Some people call it the first conditional. Let us first look at the present conditionals. You have the if clause at the beginning and the result clause at the end. But of course, it can be the other way around. Look at the first one. If it is hot, I drink iced tea. Present, present. Okay, we're talking about present conditionals. If it isn't hot, I don't drink iced tea. Present and present. Now, future conditionals. You have a combination of present and future. Present and future. Talking about future conditionals. Let us look at the first sentence. If it rains, we will close the windows. Present and future. If it doesn't rain, we won't close the windows. Present and future. Okay? In this case, there is a future possibility. Now let us see the second conditional, the present and real conditional. This is the actual situation, the true situation, and here we have the conditionals. Look at this. It is rarely hot in Antarctica. That is the actual situation, the real situation. It is rarely hot in Antarctica. If it were hot in Antarctica, it would be unusual. It is usually hot in Egypt. If it weren't hot in Egypt, it would be unusual. Okay, here we have where, we have the simple past tense, and here we have would plus the simple form. Let us look at the third example. It rarely rains in the Sahara. Okay, that is the actual condition. Now, let us see the conditional. If it rained in the Sahara, it would be unusual. And the last one, the true thing is that it usually rains in the jungle. Conditional. If it didn't rain in the jungle, it would be unusual. Okay? Simple past tense, would plus the simple form of the verb. Now let us continue with past and real conditionals. Look at this. Remember that we are talking about things that happened in the past, okay? What was the actual situation? And here you have the conditionals. Let us look at the first real situation. They stopped. So, what happened? They were late. Now I say, if they hadn't stopped, they wouldn't have been late. Past participle. If they hadn't stopped, okay? Past participle. Result clause would have and the past participle form of the verb. They wouldn't have been late. Look at the second example. They didn't stop, so they weren't late. Hey, that's great. They didn't stop, so they weren't late. But if they had stopped, they would have been late. Okay? Past participle would have been. Past participle. Okay? Now let us look at the third example. They helped the man, so he sent a gift. That is what happened. That is the actual situation. In the past, of course. Now, let us imagine things. If they hadn't helped the man, he wouldn't have sent a gift. It is just my imagination. What happened is that they helped, and they received a gift, okay, sent by the man. But in my imagination, I start to say, if they hadn't helped the man, he wouldn't have sent a gift. And the last one, the true thing is that they didn't help the man. So what happened? He didn't send a gift. Now, in my imagination, I say, if they had helped the man, he would have sent a gift. Okay? Past perfect in the if clause, comma, when the if clause is at the beginning, and then we have would plus have plus past participle. Now, sometimes we have mixed conditionals, a combination of different conditionals. And here you have some of the exceptions that I told you about earlier. Look at this. He didn't have children, so he is alone. If you notice, this is a past. He didn't have children. Okay? But this thing that didn't happen in the past has a result in the present. He is alone. Okay? So here you have the actual situation. He didn't have children, so he is alone. Now, let's look at the conditional. Okay? And then I say, if he had children, remember that is past, he didn't, but if he had children, then now he wouldn't be alone. So we have a combination of past and present. What are we talking about? We're talking about mixed conditionals, okay? Because I told you at the beginning, sometimes you have present and future, past, and so on. But here you have a combination of past and present. Let us look at the other example. His memory is not good, so he didn't buy his medicine. That is the actual situation, okay? He has a poor memory, and then he forgot to buy his medicine. Now let us see the conditional. This is an unreal situation. You know that his memory is poor. He doesn't have a good memory. But I say, if his memory were good, he would have bought his medicine. Here you have where, and you're expressing something about the present. If his memory were good now, okay, this is unreal. but I'm talking about a present situation. Remember that his memory is not good. Now we combine it with the past, and then I say he would have bought his medicine. We have a would plus have plus past participle. Okay? Remember that here we have a mixed conditional, a combination of present situation and past situation. Okay? Now, there are other ways to express unreality, and here we have this. Other ways to express unreality. Here we have the actual situation, the real situation, the true situation. She will miss the sale. She won't make it. Okay? She will miss the sale. Products are going to be with a discount, cheap, okay, but she will miss the sale. Now, look at the wish statement. Look at the if only statement. She wishes, she wishes she wouldn't miss the sale, but she's sick. She cannot go. And then you say, if only she wouldn't miss the sale. If only she wouldn't miss the sale. Let us look at the other example. They can't buy the bureau. That is the reality. She doesn't have enough money. Okay? She spent all the money on something else, so now she cannot buy the bureau. Now, what happens? They wish they could buy the bureau. If only they could buy the bureau, but that is not possible. Okay, so what am I doing? I am expressing unreality. They cannot buy the bureau. They just wish. And let us look at the last one. They arrived late. That is what happened. Okay, they were late. They were in a hurry. They made the best effort, but to no avail. They arrived late. And they lost the opportunity. So they regret. And they say, they wish they hadn't arrived late. If only they hadn't arrived late. Okay? When you have this, you have past perfect. Okay? In this case, you have past perfect because we have here something about the past. Look at the first one. Here you have future. She will miss. And then you have the combination of present if she wishes. And then you have would and simple form. Okay? Would and simple form. Here you have wishes, and here you have if only. And here you have present. They can't buy the bureau. In the wish statement, you have could, simple form. In the if only statement, you have could and simple form. But here you have past. Okay? Here you have future, here you have present, and here you have past. When you have past, you combine wish with past perfect. Past perfect. Okay? As you can see, conditionals are not difficult. You have small details to pay attention to. Study them, okay? And in the end, you will see that conditionals are a piece of cake. We have come to the end of our lesson. Do you like conditionals? Yes, they are nice and they are very useful because you can express things that for some other people are abstract. If I were you, if you were me, what would you do? Those are very interesting things to say. Okay, that would be all for today. So, bye.